Hello and welcome to another episode of Schooling Around. I'm Danielle Smith.
And I'm Alexis Ware. This week we have more interesting things in store for you all, starting with the Mini Mites competition. We also have the ALA dance class and ending with the Leonard Elementary School's author night.
So stick around for Schooling Around.
Starting out, we're going to head straight to the high school for the Mini Mites competition. Take a look.
Hello everyone, we're here again at Oxford High School back in the Auto Tech room for Auto Tech 2 as they do their Mini Mites competition. We're going to go ahead and see what all the students are doing, all the stations that are set up, check that out, as well as talk with Mr. Bosley to see what this competition entails. Take a look. All right, Mr. Bosley, so what are we doing here today?
This is what I call the Mini Mites. Mites is a competition at the state level, Michigan Industrial Technology Education Society, that's been doing a competition for years and years. And I started being involved in that maybe 10, 12 years ago. I got the idea that I'd like to do my own version after seeing that competition. We, as instructors, would help out with the competition, judging each of the areas as students would go through from various schools. And I thought that the level of difficulty wasn't all that challenging. And the students were getting huge scholarship awards for competing. And I thought, what a neat idea to bring back to the high school. So, as well as being involved at that competition, I thought I'd bring a small version back here to the high school. So this is just for my Auto 2 students, and it's a chance for them to show their strengths in different areas of auto service. So what I've done is I set up different certification areas. I have measurement, electrical, brakes, suspension, steering and alignment, scan diagnostics, and the students rotate around to each of the different areas, performing skills, identifying parts, answering questions, filling out a sheet. They give this sheet to the Auto 3 students who are hosting each of the stations. The Auto 3 students have set up the station, they grade the papers, they give those papers to me, and then I put them into a spreadsheet, and I'm awarding prizes to the first, second, third place overall finishers, as well as first, second, third in each area. So I end up giving away about 24 prizes for this competition.
Now, how did you go about selecting all of the different stations for this competition?
I tried to pick areas that we've already covered in Auto Tech 1 and Auto Tech 2. I started this competition because I didn't really have anything for the Auto Tech 2-3 students. I had the brake competition for the Auto Tech 1s, but I wasn't really doing anything like this for the Auto Tech 2s. So I tried to choose areas that the Auto 2s had covered and should have developed some skills in.
So walking into the room, I could feel the atmosphere had changed just a little bit from the prior competition you held, the brake competition. So what makes this competition different from that, aside from all of the various components? Why is everyone a little more relaxed?
This is a different type of competition. In the brake competition, it's a speed competition. It had to be accurate, but it had to be fast, and so the contestants are hyped up, trying to get the very best times they can on each of the vehicles and yet make sure that it's accurate. In this competition, speed really isn't a factor. They're competing for accuracy and knowledge. They have about 12 minutes per area, so it's also an individual competition. In the brake competition, they were paired. In this one, it's an individual. They go around station to station, performing skills and really competing against all the other classmates on their own.
How do you think competitions like these benefit the students post-high school?
Well, I think it may help them deal with problems as they arise, because this is giving them a little bit of a stressful situation and teaching them to handle that. And so I think going forward they may be a little more well suited to handling situations as they arise in their place of business.
All right, Carter, tell me what we were doing here at Scan Diagnostics.
All right, so what you're doing is that you're hooking up a scan tool and you're going through the various scans on a vehicle. You're going through and you're doing OBD2. It's just a connector that it plugs into the scan tool, and it's a full diagnostics of the car systems.
What does that all entail?
All right, so what that entails is that it goes through and it scans the engine. It goes through and it talks about the ECU. It goes through and talks about radios, instrument clusters, all the sensors, live data as well.
So what are the students looking for here today?
They're looking for codes that I have purposely set on the car, and they're looking for those live data feeds. So they're looking for throttle position, say it's at 16%, they have to write that down, or current engine temperature, they have to write that down as well. They're looking for the VIN number, they're looking for engine size, what the make of the car is, what the model is, and what the model year is as well. This will help them by allowing them to have the ability to properly use a scan tool, to be able to go through all the functions of it, to know what buttons to press, when to press them.
All right, Chandler, so what are you looking for here at the measurement station?
Pretty much that they know how to read the tools and how to use them, because measuring is very important in the automotive field. We need the right measurements and make sure they're precise.
Talk to me about the importance of measuring when it comes to auto.
Measuring is very important because you need to have the right clearances, and everything pretty much comes from bearings to the valves and everything.
So with measurements, you have to be pretty accurate, but how accurate? Because there's certain things in life where there can be a bit of a wiggle room, but it doesn't seem like that's the case when it comes to auto.
It comes down to actually very precise 0.8 thousandths, or 8 thousandths, I believe. So.
And how have the students been looking so far today?
Pretty good. They're doing all right so far.
All right, Josh, you're in charge of the brake station here. So what are you looking for?
I'm looking for identification of different parts of the brake assemblies, and that the measurements for different parts, if the rotors or the drums are correct.
All right, so walk me down the row here. What are we looking at for each station?
So here we got part assembly of a drum brake, different springs and levers and stuff inside. We got ABS modulators and stuff for the just overall system. And then we got a lateral runout system, how bad the rotor is warped. And then we have inspecting a brake rotor itself, and then inspecting and telling me what is wrong with a drum assembly.
Today is the second day of the Mini Mites competition, which means it is awards day. Now, all of the students yesterday, as you could see, were working really hard in the different fields that were going on here in the shop, and today they get rewarded for it. So let's go see what happens.
First place, Jacob Butterfield. Second place, Matt Peters. Congratulations. Third place, Nathan McMakin. Come on,
All right, I'm here with the 3 overall winners of the Mini Mites competition, and congratulations first off to all 3 of you. And how do you prepare for a competition like this?
In class, we go over what is going to be on the written test, and then they set up mock-up stations out here, and so we go to those stations and they have basically what you would be doing except with a different part, so that it's still competition.
And what was the area that you were feeling most comfortable going into this competition doing?
Probably the written test, because I feel like I'm better with tests than like remembering hands-on stuff.
So what made the test, aside from it being written, different than doing hands-on? Because you still have to know the same components.
Probably because the test was multiple choice, so if you had no idea, you could at least guess on it. And sometimes like I'll know what something's called, but I won't like if I see it, I'll be able to tell what it is, but I don't know the exact name.
Gotcha. All right, and then how do you go into a competition like this? Because you came out overall, did you come in feeling confident, or were you a little concerned, areas that, maybe needed a little more work than what you thought once you actually got in here and it was, we're doing it?
I came in fairly confident in the competition, but I knew that there would be areas that I would struggle with, kind of like measuring and some other things along those lines. But overall, I think I felt kind of confident.
After a full day of competition and handing out the awards, the 2019 Mini Mites competition has come to a close. Congratulations to all the winners, first, second, and third for the overall places, as well as the individual places as well. This takes a lot of time and dedication and practicing to be able to win these awards. So congratulations again to the students of the Oxford Automotive class, and we'll see you next time. Like Mr. Balsley said, he started this competition on more of a smaller scale as opposed to the statewide competition that it normally is. That way the students can have a little more hands-on experience and it's more local, and it's clearly benefiting these students because there's some that are actually prepared to go ahead and take their certification even before they graduate high school.
And it's even more preparation for the students when they go to that big competition, that they've already kind of had a tinier one, in their back pocket.
Right.
And going into our next segment, we're going to stay at the high school, just go to the Performing Arts Center for Mrs. Brewer's ELA class. Take a look.
A ray of sunlight, most beautiful that has ever shone on Thebes, city of 7 gates.
7 gates.
You've appeared at last, you glowing eye of golden day. Moving above the streams of dirt, driving into headlong flight. The white shield warrior from Argos, who has marched here fully armed, now forced back by your sharper power. Against our land he marched, sang here by the warring claims of Polynices, with piercing screams and an eagle flying above our land. Covered wings as white as snow, and hordes of warriors in arms. Helmets topped with horsehair crests.
Hi, I'm Dana Brewer, and I am a teacher of both our dance program here at the high school and of ELA 10.
And it just so happened that Danielle and I from the Schooling Around segment were walking past to go home, and we stumbled upon your ELA class.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you guys doing? You were in the middle of something.
Yeah, so we are teaching a brand new curriculum in English this year all throughout the high school. And right now we are working on the Greek tragedy Antigone, which is a play. And plays are meant to be seen and heard, not just read. So my class is experimenting with a project where they become a Greek chorus, which means that as a group they move and act as one character. There's a chorus leader who does a lot of lines on their own, but they speak and move as one to bring across a message to the audience.
Now, you're both an ELA and dance teacher, so this is your ELA class. How do you go about incorporating dance into something that people normally wouldn't correlate?
Right. People always are like, oh, dance and English, that's a weird combination, but they actually all fit in very well together. And there are a lot of really cool ways to collaborate between different classes, the arts, all sorts of different ones. But I love the combination of dance and English because dance is a language. It's just another form of expression. So when you put the two together, it can be very powerful.
And we have 3 students that we pulled aside. They were your main leads in the 3 individual dances. How did you go about coordinating those dances?
So this was completely brought about by the students. They had their scripts, but then I separated them into 3 different groups, totally at random. And as a group, they decided who might be lead or a group of leading movement directors, choreographers, if you will. Which we have a lot of people with dance background, so they were kind of naturals at that. But we have worked with spoken word before, monologues, that sort of thing. So as a class, they already knew who some of the standout speakers were. So they chose as a group who would be their key speaker.
Now, you have how many original dancers from your dance class in this class?
In this class, I have 2. Abby who is doing a lot of flipping around. She'll be very recognizable as one of them. And then one of the other ladies in this class is too. And then in my other English class, I have, I think, 4 or 5.
And just to throw this out there, this isn't a normal English class. This is actually IB, so it's a little more advanced than your typical.
Yeah, well, this is actually our middle years program, so it's part of the IB curriculum. But this is a regular English class. So this is a class all of the 10th grade English students would take. Not necessarily mine. This is actually the only class that did this exact project because we're doing a lot of risk taking right now. We're being IB risk takers and trying out some new things. And this just so happened to be one of them, and it just so happened to get caught on camera.
All right, well, keep watching. Maybe 1 year or in a trimester, semester, you'll have an opportunity to incorporate English and dance. All right, Ella, so you were a choreographer in the dance that we just saw. How was it to be nominated, so to speak, from your classmates?
It was like kind of interesting because I think some of their opinion based on choosing me came from a previous assignment where we had to do a monologue, and I think they kind of took note of my speaking skills and thought that I'd make a good group leader.
Now, the dancing portion is a little bit different for an ELA class. Were you nervous at all to do that?
Yeah, that was kind of like a big step that I wasn't really used to. But I thought it was really cool to be able to do.
Now, are you familiar with dancing at all? Do you have any background in it?
I have very, very minimal experience. I took less a half of year of a dance class before, but other than that, not really.
Now, how is it incorporating the assignments that you study in class inside an ELA class nonetheless into a dance?
I thought it was almost difficult because the text is pretty difficult since it's Greek theater, and it was kind of hard to take what the text was saying and figure out how to put movement behind it.
Do you think it helps you understand the material a little bit more to have all of this emotion coming from it?
I think it definitely helps me understand the feeling that the text is supposed to be giving me and how I'm supposed to be feeling.
Now I'm going to let you choose from the 2 of your classmates standing over there which one we should interview next.
David.
All right, David. So I guess I'm going to speak with you next. All right, so you were just nominated by your classmate, David, for me to talk with you next. So how does it feel to be nominated by your classmates as well as one of the choreographers?
It felt very nice because usually I don't do so well in front of my class, but for our last project, which was presenting a monologue to the class, mine was very unique in that I put music behind it, and so my friends in my group thought I'd do well with this, and so it felt really good to be nominated as choreographer.
Awesome. All right. And do you feel like you did pretty well with this assignment?
I think my group and I did very well. I definitely appreciate the other groups. I think they did well or better also, but
Modest.
yes. But I think my group did very well. We followed the course project outline in that we choreographed and presented our chorus project and had all of our lines memorized for the most part.
Now, how long did you have to memorize your lines? I didn't even realize watching you all that you actually had lines that you had to say.
We started this project about a week or so ago, and so we had all last week and then the weekend to practice and rehearse and get everything situated and ready to go.
Now, at first, coming into the class, did you know that this was going to be partly theater and music and dancing as well, or did you just think it was going to be a normal ELA class?
Absolutely not. I thought this was going to be read a book, write an essay, read a book, write an essay, but Ms. Brewer suggested that we perform in front of the class twice now. So that kind of had me on edge, but I do think this is a lot more fun than a regular ELA class.
And would you now, knowing what this class entails, would you still come back for maybe, I don't know if there's a second course to this, but if there were, would you come back for a second? Uh-oh, don't get in trouble now.
If there were, I would rather take this than a normal ELA class, but in general, I would not like to do this again. Just because of my nerves, not because I don't like the material. I actually really love this project compared to sitting down, reading a book,
that I may or may not like, and then having to write about it. But I really like this.
And I think I know where you were going with for an ELA class, he likes it. However, I don't think you would take a dance class. Me and Ms. Brewer were encouraging him to take a dance class. You're very good, and you don't seem nervous at all. You seem very comfortable inside. So now going back into the ELA class, this is your second assignment where you had to incorporate dance. What was the first one?
So the first project that we did this semester was a monologue, which meant that you had to find a piece of text that you enjoyed, and it had to be so long, about 2-ish minutes. And then you had to memorize your lines and then present it in front of the class, but also put as much context and background into it and figure out the emotions behind it and really just express that and act it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you for talking to us and dancing for the camera, because I know that can be intimidating, especially if you don't necessarily want to dance. We're going to speak to your last classmate here and see what she has to say. All right, so I heard that you are actually in Ms. Brewer's dance class. How does it feel to kind of be one of the stars when you do a project like this?
I mean, it feels great. I feel like people expect a lot from me, because, like, especially Miss Brewer, because she's my teacher for 3 of my hours out of the 7, because the dance class is first and second hour. I did dance on and off, so it's still always, like, nervous to, like, go in front of people, but, like, doing that in dance and in ELA is really helping me, like,
get over your nerve.
Yeah.
Now, same question. When you first got into this ELA class, did you know it was going to be some dance incorporated, or were you surprised as well?
I had no idea there was going to be so much dance. I thought it was going to be like last year, where it's like, read a book, write a paper, read a book, write a paper. And then Miss Brewer threw, like, these monologues and these chorus presentations at us.
Now, would you take the class all over again if you knew now, or knew then what you know now?
I would take the class over again, because I'm not the strongest writer, and I like going in front of people, even though every time my nerves build up and I get shaky, but it's still fun to feel the rush of doing a presentation.
And when you do monologues and activities like this, do you kind of take the leader position all the time and help other students out and show them how it's supposed to be done and show them ways that they can incorporate the text, for instance, into a dance?
I try my best to help the others, because some never go in front of people and perform or anything, so I having experience, I try and help them and show them how to do it. Yeah.
Now, do you think that, because you said you're not the strongest writer, now how do you think it helps you in class understanding the material to be able to put the emotion behind the text?
So if you read a book, you understand it, you don't get the full experience, but if you watch people act it out, then you can really understand the emotion coming out of it and what's going on in the story.
And it's actually a way to dive even deeper into the text. Say, for instance, you didn't understand the book the first time and you were like, well, what does he mean about this paragraph? If you act it out and you dance a little bit to it, it may help you.
Yeah, and since there's 3 groups, you get to split it up so you don't have a bunch of all these new words coming at you. You just have a small section to figure out and see how you comprehend it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for talking to me. We're not going to make you any more late to class.
Now victory with her glorious name has come, bringing joy to well-armed Thebes. The battle's done, let's strive to forget. With song and dancing all night long, with Bacchus leading us to make Thebes shake.
Incorporating dance with a literature class is not something you see every day.
Not at all, especially, typically for my ELA classes, we were always, in our desks, reading, writing, and typing. We never actually got up out of our chairs to portray what we were reading.
And this is more of an unconventional way of learning, which I think really resonated with the students, where they could act out what they were reading and feel it and just comprehended in a completely different way.
Exactly. It helps for the understanding process. It helps you understand the literature a lot better and be able to connect to it, which is ultimately the goal.
That's right.
And speaking of reading, we're going to head over to Leonard Elementary School for the end of March's Reading Month last week to see Matt Faulkner. Take a look. I'm here with Ms. Wellaby. She coordinated this entire authors event. Ms. Wellaby, how much effort and work went into planning this?
Well, putting together an author is a little harder than you may think, because we have to, first of all, we have to find an author, and then we have to find an author that might be a good fit for our school, that might fit in with our budget, and that is willing to come and speak to all of our schools. So coordinating that, and then getting it coordinated with the right days and times that the principals would like. Also making sure that we have the availability of the space, finding out what the author needs. So it just takes time, but it's worth it. We have a great speaker.
All right. And then how many classes are coming to see this author speak today?
He's coming to, let's see, he's coming to 4 schools. Yeah. So he's coming to 3 elementaries and the middle school.
Awesome. And did you coordinate the entire thing for even other schools?
Yes. Okay. Because I'm the KA librarian, so I try to work with programming for our books and our libraries in the K8 system. Yeah, K8. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what other, because March is Reading Month.
That's right.
What other activities are going on for this month?
Well, I will say that each school is amazing. Each elementary school is amazing because they each have their own theme, and they all have different activities that go along with their theme. And so if you go to each one of our elementaries, you're going to find a variety of different activities that they're doing. They're collecting minutes for reading, but they're also having different contests. The library paras are reading them books that deal with the author or deal with a theme. So a lot of stuff going on. At the middle school, I organized a March's Reading Month calendar, so we did a countdown to their, like a March Madness, to what their favorite book is. We had a nonfiction book checkout where names were drawn if they checked out a nonfiction book, and they got a yard of bubble gum. So we tried different things, Mystery Monday challenges at the middle school. We had mystery author books at the middle school, and different activities for them to do throughout the month. So every school does something a little differently, but it's all geared toward getting excited about reading.
Reading Month.
Right, getting excited.
Now specifically for Leonard, because that's where we are today, Leonard Elementary School, what are they doing? What's their big theme?
They are doing a Dr. Seuss theme, and I will say they go all out. Hopefully you'll have a chance to take some pictures around here, because they have Dr. Seuss, and as soon as you walk in, they've got pictures everywhere. They're reading Dr. Seuss books. They had Seussical, the musical, before we started March's Reading Month. They just do a great job here coordinating all the different activities. The kids get super excited. They have assemblies. So there's a lot going on here with Dr. Seuss this month.
Okay, and then our guest speaker, our guest author today, so to speak, how did you go about finding him?
Well, what I did was I contacted other schools and libraries that have had speakers and found out one that they liked. Matt Faulkner was actually a recommendation through the Orion Township Public Library.
Because if other kids can eat veggies, well, so can I. And I'm happier now than I ever have been. And I never will trade with a monster again. And the monster laughed a cold laugh! All right, what did you think? Was it a good story?
The way that Matt was able to interact with the students, I think, made the assembly that much more enjoyable for them.
It did, and to even be an illustrator, you kind of have to be able to connect with kids in a certain way, you know what they like and what they enjoy, and I think he did a fabulous job really, honing the kids in and making them interested.
Right, and by all of the laughs we heard, I'm sure he did a phenomenal job.
And what was really cool about the beginning of his presentation is that he chose one student from each of the groups that he had to draw or illustrate a picture of, and he did a phenomenal job. It took him less than 5 minutes to completely draw that student.
Amazing.
It was really great, yeah. And is something going on in your school that you think we should know about?
If so, let us know. Take a photo or quick video from the event and post it to our Facebook page, Oxford Community Television, for your chance to be featured on our next episode.
And that about does it for this episode of Schooling Around. Until next time, I'm Alexis Ware.
And I'm Danielle Smith. We'll see you next time.